Many thanks for joining us on Core Digest Extra this Saturday, 18th of August 2018. We are talking about the Nigerian polity matters arising. A lot is going on at this time. You look ahead to 2019, you think about the elections, you think about what is going on regarding preparations for the election. This week, the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, met with committees of both the House of Representatives and the Senate, talking about the budget for the 2019 elections. Remember that being a subject of discuss in the recent past. And so people have been expressing concerns and fears. Could this have an effect on the forthcoming elections? But the INEC chairman has come to say, okay, regardless of the delay in the passage of that election budget, the dates for the elections remain sacrosanct. They will not be changed, and the elections would hold. That on one hand. On another hand, the gale of defection is still on, and then, of course, growing calls for the impeachment of certain players, certain defectors, and that matter on. Elsewhere, you want to talk about the freedom of the press and what some journalists have been facing in recent past regarding their stories and how, the impacts, the reaction those have been drawing in the society. Also talk about security, talk about the economy. There is really so much happening. So let's just really touch on them as much as we can this morning. I have with me in the studio Justice Uhuegbu, a human rights lawyer, a legal practitioner. Thank you very much, Justice, for joining us today.
Thank you. It is my pleasure once more.
All right. When you look around at the polity, what really gets you concerned?
Well, if I tell you the truth, I am so concerned because I felt that by now we should have been operating on the principle of geometric progression. But unfortunately, what we are getting is a lot of diminishing returns because I've not seen anything to say we have stepped up at all. Because Professor Risu, one of our legal gurus, said that the law is to harmonize with the society. The implication of that is that as the society grows, the law grows alongside with the society. And that is why it is said that development is advancement. By now, we are supposed to have advanced more than this. For example, if you look at the First Republic, the Second Republic, when you draw inference from there, coming down to 1999 democracy period till now, we are going back. In fact, those era I would say is even better than now. We've been battling with this issue of corruption, issue of not complying simplicity and strictly sensu with the electoral rules and guidelines. But what we are seeing now, we have seen an introduction of another worst form of electoral malpractices, which is vote buying. We saw it play down in Ekiti. Unfortunately, the players, for the footages we saw, reports, both the security agents, everybody, they were there. All these things are happening. Now it's no longer in the first place. Tell me the reason why the rule says campaign stops at the eve of the election. And still on the day of the election, people are still canvassing for votes. To the extent of carrying it to the polling books or polling units, paying money for the votes, making sure that they see your where you voted. Somehow you raise it up, they are satisfied that you voted for them before they give you the money. I don't know where we're going. I don't know where our politicians has learnt this. I don't know, whether we actually have the interests of Nigeria at hand. Because if you have the interests of the country at hand, there are certain things you will not do. let me tell you the truth. Me, as a person, if I come out for any elective position tomorrow and I discover that the people are not ready to carry me along or to vote for me, I will retreat. It's not a do or die affair. But if I insist it must be me, which means I have an ulterior motive.
Okay, let's look at the gale of defections going on across the country today. What do you make of it?
Well, the truth is this. It is not the first time it's happening. It's not the second time, not the third time, and it's not going to be the last time. And that is why when APC started making noise and all the rest, I keep on laughing. If you remember, I was in this forum one day where I was discussing with one of my friends, and in fact, he was provoked when I said, why is APC making noise now? In 2014, let me also make reference to that. So 15, when some members of PDP defected from PDP to APC, the APC members and spokesmen called them heroes of democracy. The same people you called heroes of democracy few years ago has done the same thing they did to PDP to you. You are now saying that they are irresponsible. So where do you get that? Is okay, why.
So what happened? The incident of 2014/2015, was it legally correct? Was it legally right?
Let me tell you one thing. Many people defected, both people at the National Assembly and people at the executive arm and other politicians.
Was there action at that time justified?
No, definitely. What you should be asking is, do they have the right to belong to any party of their choice or any association of their choice?
Because we also
and the answer is yes.
Now the reason is, you're a legal practitioner, and we have heard of the condition given by the Constitution for which people can move from one party to the other.
Not people. That provision. That provision talks about the National Assembly.
Okay.
You understand? He said the caveat there is that if there is a division, in the party that brought them in, that was one of the I think the major provision.
Okay, so putting that into consideration, the defections between 2014 and 2015, was there, what did you call it now, division?
Yes, there was.
So it means that the move of those lawmakers from one party to the other was justified.
Yes, because remember, as at 2014, so 2015, there was this new PDP.
Okay.
If you remember, headed by, I've forgotten his name, that, they formed a parallel party structure.
Okay.
And then, quote unquote, that was why the members in the National Assembly then said, well, there is a division in the party. Because of that, we are now leaving the party to APC.
Let's now turn to
wait a minute.
The same thing
has happened again now.
Okay. So
remember,
is that division in the APC?
Remember that is Aru APC now. Being headed by one senator, I've forgotten his name. They have their own structure. They have their own membership from national to zonal, states, and local government. So the question you should be asking now.
But I know that the APC has questioned.
It is immaterial, but as at that time, PDP also came out to say there was no division. But you can't say there's no division. These people are members of your party.
So you believe the defections?
Definitely, yes. It's justified by the law.
Okay. According to law, is there a provision that it is the majority party that brings forward the speaker or president?
There's nothing like that. I think
of the assembly.
No, there's nothing like that. If you go to the Constitution, I think section 50, you come down. Talked about the National Assembly. He said that the speaker, the president, and the deputy president and the
deputy president of the Senate.
Deputy president of the Senate. The speaker and the deputy speaker of the Senate shall be elected, and other principal officers shall be elected within amongst themselves. He did not say within among the party. But what plays is this, because one particular party will always be in majority. So most times you now see that the party in majority will always produce the Senate president or the speaker.
Because there is provision for a majority leader in the House
yes.
or in the Assembly and a minority
that
leader
one is
in the
immaterial.
Assembly.
That one is immaterial. For the post of the president of the Senate, the deputy,
Speaker
the
of the
speaker,
House.
you see, definitely you will not expect somebody from the minority to win, except if that person had, lobbied some members of the other party that is in majority to vote for him. It is an in-house thing. Let me tell you, the legislative arm of government is one of the arms of government. We have three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. They have its own principles, mechanisms, and machineries to operate. They are independent on their own. So they have the procedure to do things. And the law simpliciter provides it.
Right. And when, in this case, as we have it now, one of the principal officers, like now the Senate president, moves from his party, which, under which he was elected and which threw him up as Senate president, and now he's left that party.
Listen, that is the problem.
So explain.
It is not the party that threw him up as the Senate president. It is the members of the Senate that threw him up and voted him as the Senate president. It has nothing to do with the party. Understand the law.
So you're saying that according to law, he can maintain his position as
the
president of the Senate?
Definitely. If the members of that house decides we want this person, the vote of where he's coming from. Okay, let me ask you a question. On the day of the election, are the Senate president, the deputy, the speaker, and the deputy speaker, did they invite APC members from outside to come and vote? Did they? Did they invite all Nigerians to come and vote? The only people that have the right to cast their vote on that day are members of the National Assembly, either the Senate or the House of Reps. Simple. They can decide to choose any person.
But as it is today now, some members of the hallowed chamber, of the Red Chamber, including party stalwarts, including the national chairman of the APC, many people have been calling for the impeachment of the Senate president.
Because they don't know what is democracy.
They don't know what is democracy.
They don't know. They don't know. If going by the definition of the simple definition of democracy, government of the people, by the people, and for the people in the National Assembly have taken their decision. So you don't have right to influence them. In the first place, what is the business of the APC chairman with the National Assembly?
He has the party. He should be concerned about whatever goes on within his party.
You see where we're having problem in Nigeria?
Shouldn't he be bothered about what goes on within the party that he heads?
You see, that's what I'm saying. You see why we're having problem in Nigeria? We believe in a politics of winner takes all. It must be me, it must be us. That is the problem. Let me tell you, my sister, if you have a proactive leadership, the president is not supposed to be interested in what happens in the Senate, what happens in the National Assembly. Yet, what he should be interested is, let there be synergy, cooperation between the executive and the legislatures. Remember that the theory of separation of power in the first place, propounded by Montesquieu, simpliciter, said that it is for it to serve as a check and balance to each other, as a watchdog to each other, so that there will not be tyranny, to avoid tyranny. And what is tyranny? Abuse of power. So the problem is this: we embrace democracy, we embrace the rules, we embrace the doctrines and the theories, but we don't want to practice it the way it should be. That is the problem we're having. And let me tell you, another major problem today is that because of the enormous powers the executive in this country they have, both at the national and the state levels, they now see the other two arms of government, which is the legislature and the judiciary, as a department or as a part of the executive. They now want to be dictating to the legislatures and judiciary what to do in order to suit them. That is where there is a disconnect. And it cannot work that way. Not until you remember and understand the three organs of government that must work separately, in a democratic setup for the rule of law. You can never get it right.
But it's not only the party now, it's not only the executive members of the legislature themselves. Some of them are calling for the impeachment or the resignation of the Senate president.
Yes, everybody has his or her own opinion. Let me tell you, even since Saraki became the Senate president, it's not everybody in the Senate, in the floor of the Senate, that voted for him. It's not everybody. Yeah, there are no two ways about it. So for those of them that did not vote for him, or remember that he also had rivals before the election. There were people that wanted to be the Senate president before him. And so those people will also be praying, let there be one problem or the other, let them see whether they can have a chance. You remember in Nigeria, was it not how many years ago that we had 4 Senate presidents or 3 Senate presidents in 4 years? So you see where politics is being played, forgetting the issue on ground. My dear, let me tell you the truth. I don't need to be the Senate president for me to do what I am supposed to do and for my people, for my constituency to be happy with me. I don't need it.
All right. Now, a number of people have blamed the National Assembly for the delay in the passage of the 2019 elections budget.
That is the problem.
What aspect of it is a problem?
That is politics. Once there is no synergy between the executive and legislators, that is what you get. You see, let me tell you one thing. In any responsive government, there should be, an understanding. Because the executive and legislative arm of the government in every country are the key pillars of the government in every setup. And there has to be this interface. Remember, that is why the president has a personal advisor on National Assembly matters, who is supposed to be interfacing with the National Assembly members on issues and all the rest. But we should also understand and know the fact that the National Assembly on its own also has the duties and the omnibus provisions, what we call oversight functions, the ones that are not stated, to also look into the activities of the executive to know whether actually what they are doing is right or not. And where they want to go, there's be a mistake, they will correct them. It doesn't need to fight unnecessarily, no. But once there is that no synergy, once you bring politics into it, from the onset, if you remember, this National Assembly, from the first day of Saraki emerging as the Senate president, there have been issues. And you now ask yourself a question. Since that time till now, issues have been coming up. Saraki, no Saraki, Ekwerema, no Ekwerema. You have not gotten anything. Nigeria is not moving forward. We are leaving the normal things we were supposed to do in this country and focusing on issues that do not benefit the masses. Look at all the killings in Nigeria.
But don't you think this actually benefits the masses? I'm talking about the election now, because it is a democracy, and
listen,
we know that elections hold every 4 years.
It's just coming.
Yes, and
I am telling you from the inception.
I
am telling you from the inception of this government. I'm not. You see, we are looking at things that has happened before now. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no executive member, we call it APC chairman, PDP chairman, ABGA chairman, or whatever, that do not have security in their house. Because already they are entitled to security. So most of them is the APC chairman, current APC chairman now, not a former head, an governor of a state, is entitled to security and all the rest. So nobody is talking about all these things. Now election is forthcoming and all the rest. All these things are supposed to have been synergized, done earlier before now. Proposal sends, appropriation bill sends for the money to be released and all the rest. And remember, it is also the duty of the National Assembly to vet and look at this money we're talking about holistically, to know whether this money is actually good to be released, the amount we're talking about and all the rest, because we're talking about a huge amount of money. Some states have done their elections and all the rest. Now, with the current, in fact, I'm expecting the National Assembly to reconvene and call the INEC chairman for questioning.
Well, actually, the committee has met with him, with the INEC chairman, and one thing, when the Senate committee did meet with him, they mentioned that, okay, so this has opened the way now for, the National Assembly to reconvene so that the committee of the whole can now consider, the recommendations.
I wouldn't even want it to
committee
end at the committee stage. I want it to be an open, hello meeting. Because
well, definitely,
that's
what I was also saying, because the INEC, the Senate INEC chairman now, committee chairman, did mention that, okay, now the committee has met despite the fact that they're on recess, and that has opened the way, because a number of people have been calling for the reconvening of the National Assembly. So he said that has opened the way, and so of course it will now be necessary for the committee of the whole to look at whatever they've come up with.
Yeah, I think they can reconvene now, mainly because of this, and a lot of questions needs to be answered by the chairman of INEC.
What are some of the questions?
Yeah, looking at the fallout of few elections that have been concluded, the shortfalls, the complaints, and all the rest, because all these things needs to be tidied up. If not, there'll be problem in 2019. Because you can't keep quiet. You can't pretend as if you did not see these things.
But one thing is that the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has assured that the election date will not change despite the delay in the.
We're not talking about election date. Listen to me. We're not talking about election date. I am one of the people that believe that we must get it right, no matter how long it takes us. No. Let's forget. Let's just do it. No. We'll keep on going down the drain. We must get it right once and for all. Once we get it down right, it will serve. The precedent will be there. So it's not a matter of election date being changed or not being. After all, in 2014, election date was changed, I think, 2 times. Election still held, and May was still visible. Handover date. So it doesn't matter. There are issues to be discussed and to be trashed before 2019 election. That's what I'm saying. Now you shift the election for 1 week or 2 weeks. I don't see anything bad.
All right. Okay, so you think the election date can actually be shifted?
From the way I'm looking at it, it may. But what we are saying is that election must be done and concluded, and handover take place the day it's supposed to take place.
Because if it is extended, it means that, and a lot of people are actually against the extension.
No, understand. Did you not extend the election in 2014? Understand what? But did it affect the handover? Understand what I'm trying to say? So let them not use this issue of date and confuse Nigerians. No, get things right.
All right. When the National Assembly adjourned for 2 months, that was July the 25th. Yes, and they adjourned by 2 months. So originally they had to reconvene on September maybe 24th or also 25th. How do you see that break?
Well, I think it was not a unilateral decision. It was a decision of the members of the National Assembly. I am not a member, so they know the reason why they have to. But the truth I know, and for all I know, is that they can still reconvene if there are issues or emergencies.
So do you believe we have issues and emergencies?
Yeah, we do. Especially the 2019 election is coming up. We don't really have much time.
So do you call
especially
on them
the issue
of
release of money and all the rest. Yes, I support the fact that they should reconvene and look at critical issues. The money is not even the problem there. We have money. Okay. This country will have the money.
All right, but now that the issue of impeachment is also very high on people's
I believe it will not fly. I think people that are talking about these things are just wasting time. Because one, now tell me what good it will even do to us. We have less than how many months to election for this National Assembly to even wind up. So why are we creating issues out of nothing? If you see, Saraki says something that these people are enemies of democracy, I think I agree with him. We should be able to. Let me tell you one thing. Freedom comes by struggle. And for there to be sanity in any system, anywhere, there must be sacrifice. We must be able to make this sacrifice.